Hello, hello. One person, it's just you and me. 2 people. 8 people. Whoa, okay. It's going up quick. Hi, everybody. I'm going to do a live with Lexi, and I'm super, super excited about it. So, hold on, let me just get this request going. Rip. Hold on. Gotta view that request. Okay. Oh, there you are. It's like instantly so fast. It's crazy to me.
Hello.
Hi. Hey, how are you? Can you hear me?
Yep.
Radical. I put in my headphones this time so I would be a professional person and you wouldn't hear an echo. How are you doing today?
Doing good. Just sleepy, but we're good.
Yeah, tell me. So you had a very late shift last night. Lexi is joining us after, what time did you get to go to bed?
6:30 in the morning.
Thank you so much for being here. That is epic that you are
Just
showing up
surviving.
for this. That's so cool. And so what are you, I mean, you want to share what your job is? Do you want to talk about it at all or?
Yeah. I just started doing ER shifts for veterinary nursing while I'm a vet student to get more experience because COVID.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, super excited. I love it. Love every second of it. Just a little tired, but we're getting through it.
I'm so excited and I'm so grateful. I mean, being a vet is one of the coolest things you can be. So thanks for taking care of our animals.
Oh, thanks.
So we're going to talk today about an incredible podcast called My Black Body. And we are also going to talk about our personal experiences with eating disorders and recovery and just generally whatever really you want to talk about. I am also open to. Um, so yeah, I mean, I've been listening and re-listening to the first 3 episodes. For a while I was listening to what is it called? What's the first one called? Like Eating Disorders, episode 1 through a bajillion or something like that, which is so true. It's like, how could you, there's so many things to talk about.
Right.
Um, and then listening to Jessica's story and listening to Ruia's story. Um, and I guess, I don't know, maybe we could open it up by asking you a little bit about your story and how you came to be involved. I don't want you to like give it all away because I really want you to be a future guest.
Um, so basically it started like when I was a teenager in gymnastics. My coaches said like this is the formula to win. This is, what we want you to look like. This is how you get the best scores. So I mean, I followed that because winning was part of like my primary identity was being a gymnast, and without that, I didn't really know who I was or what I wanted to be. Um,
Well, also, you've been a gymnast since you were 3, right?
yeah,
That's pretty formative.
yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. And like a coach tells you, like this is what you do, and I'm like, okay, well, this is like the same as a correction, and um, like of course I'm gonna do it. And then everyone else in my gymnastics group, I guess, was doing the same because our coach like explicitly told us like you purge your food and you put lemon and cayenne pepper in your water during practice because that's what we do to win. So I don't think at first that I really understood that that was like wrong or that that was actually hurting me in my performance at all.
hmm
So I think it took a long time for me to even recognize that this is probably not healthy. Um, and it made me feel like I was in control and I was winning. So it didn't feel wrong. um,
right.
yeah, and since I never really got down to a size where I felt sick enough to say anything, um, I was really good at hiding it, I guess, which just reinforced like me feeling like I was winning because I didn't have to deal with the consequences of what I was doing. So it took a couple of people that were in very serious condition to kind of make me realize that what I was doing was really dangerous for me in my, gymnastics career, to start trying to make a change. But even then, I thought even today that I'm completely recovered. Oh, that's something in the past. And then Jessica, one of the co-hosts of the podcast, was like, actually, no. What are you
Yeah.
doing? You're still in recovery. Like, you still need to work on this. I was like, oh, dang. Yeah, I do that. It's kind of weird. Yep.
Yeah. I mean, and so since it's so crazy to me when we were talking about this that, a lot of me being in the dance world and primarily being an actor, a lot of the pressure to maintain a certain physique is so implied. It's like those are the people that you see cast in the roles are slender, women. Those are the ballerinas you see dancing on stage. They all have a similar body type. So it's pretty implied overall that, like, if you want to be one of these people, if you want to get the job, if you want to get the role, you have to maintain that kind of body. But what was so crazy to me was that your coaches just made it part of your training and part of everybody on the team. And it's so heartbreaking to me that your experience of getting help was through other people because you weren't sick enough. Like, that is so upsetting to me because everybody's body is different. Everybody, whether binging or purging, it's negative no matter what, but it's going to affect everybody's body differently. And just because it affected somebody else's body at a faster rate, or you were able to maintain your strength and stamina on the same amount of food, like whatever, that there were people that got treatment for this early on, whereas you had to kind of learn by example and go like, oh crap, if I don't want to be taken off the team because I'm hospitalized or put in treatment or anything like that, like my teammates are, then I have to address this. So that's not really addressing the health concerns for you. That's just kind of like, I don't know, constricting you in another way.
Yeah, definitely. It was something that Roia said too, in episode 4 that kind of hit me and was like, no one knew that Roia was sick unless, Roia's tried to convince, their doctors that they are sick and, this is happening. And because outwardly it doesn't look to them like a typical case, it's been dismissed and, hurting them even more internally of not only physically but mentally, and trying to seek help and getting shut down for it. So I definitely, when I heard that, I was like, oh man, I cannot even imagine like repeatedly trying to convince someone that you need help.
Yeah. And also that Rawia is in a place now, whether it's through her, her own journey and through her relationship with Jessica, where she's able to admit or like, I don't know, even the fact that they are brave enough to speak out and say, I have a restrictive eating disorder and I know it's affecting me negatively. No matter what you think about me or my body, I'm aware of this for me. The thing that also breaks my heart is to think about how many people are also in a similar position where just because their bodies don't look like the way we imagine somebody with an eating disorder to look like, which is, to be frank, the stereotype is like skinny white girl, right? Upper middle class, skinny white girl. That these people don't get treatment.
Yeah.
Like that's, pardon my language, it's fucked.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, that also, and this includes men, this includes transgender, all by POC. Like I was reading yesterday, I'm gonna like botch this statistic, but that eating disorder and disordered eating numbers are much, they're reflected much bigger in communities that are not white, right? That are not cisgender, that are not, uh, female primarily, but that these are the people that are much less likely to get help because the doctors aren't just, they're just not looking.
Yeah.
And I think that that's what's, well, I love so much about listening to the podcast is just being able to hear two stories, you know, and I'm so excited for more in the future. You know, that will open our eyes and just say, you know, really, let's have a little bit of a different outlook, at least as a society, and then we can encourage the medical community to follow. Uh, um, so that we can get people treatment that need treatment, you know?
Exactly. It just feels like such a restrictive space. I've never really like sought actual treatment before.
Mhm.
So it's just interesting, like not even thinking about, okay, well, you're gonna be the only Black person in that space. You're gonna be the only person that, you know, doesn't look sick enough. And just like thinking of those things when Roia brought that up, I was kind of taken aback thinking, is that really a constructive space? Like Jessica was saying, like, is that going to be more damaging?
Right.
Or is that actually going to help? So yeah, it's just it's tough stuff.
It is. And I totally hear you. I think I kind of spoken a little bit about my experience of when I was at hospital, not being at my lowest weight made me feel like I didn't deserve treatment, you know, that I wasn't as sick as the girl that needed a feeding tube, you know, and that is me, who is a white presenting skinny girl that was already at a very low weight, because of a restrictive eating disorder. And like you said, now put somebody who is not white or white presenting in that situation. I mean, there's that layer. And then, like you said, put somebody whose body, like Ruia, does not reflect the traditional idea of an eating disorder, restrictive eating disorder, in that
Mm-hmm.
situation. And I think you're right. Of course it's going to be more damaging. But then where do, I mean, is it, are, how are you feeling about, do you feel like you have a community in place where you can speak about this, speak about your recovery? I know you have a really incredible relationship with Jessica. Um, how is that going? Like, how is building that space for your recovery going?
It's going really good. I've just reached out to like quite a few of the girls that I was on the gymnastics team with, you know, back when I was younger, and they're pretty much having like the same experiences, and we never really talked about it when we were younger because it was all like this like secret thing.
Right.
So it's nice to be able to share that experience now. And like you were saying with Jessica, like she holds me accountable because I'm not trustworthy with, you know, my actions, and still think that things are normal that are very much not normal.
Hmm.
Um, and I think that that community has helped a lot. I feel like now that I'm actually being critical of myself and doing that like radical self love, it's not always like a linear progression, but it is, you know, on the right track. So it gives me a lot of hope.
That's really awesome. When you speak about radical self-love, I'm right now, I'm in the middle of The Body Is Not an Apology. Have you read that book?
I haven't.
Oh man, it is so great. I want to like, oh, I'm like, you're on my phone. I'm like blanking on her name right now. I know her name is Sonia, but if you search Sonia, The Body Is Not an Apology. And now it's a whole website and a whole online movement. But you know, what they are talking about is a lot of, like you said, radical body acceptance and body positivity. And I find that that is so, I'm so excited to find that for other people, Like, I'm just like real talk now. Every time I listen to this book, I'm like, yes, everybody, like health at every size, no matter what you look like. Like, I love your body. This is so beautiful. And then it's like, if somebody turned the mirror around, I'd be like, yeah, but me. So, and then like awkwardly back out of the room. Just being real with like where I am with my body journey. I'm like so on board and supportive of other people. And then when people turn around to me, I'm like, you sorry. I'm fine.
Oh, me, I'm fine. I'm fine.
I'm fine. Um, it's really good. I'm actually staring at a post-it that my husband has that says fine, and it's like broken up. F is for fucked up, I is for insecure, N is for neurotic, and E is for emotional. So I'm fine.
Oh my God. That's so funny. I love that.
So I mean, one of the other things that I really want to talk about is how we can be supportive of My Black Body, the podcast. And one of the big things that we can do and encourage people to do is to become a patron of it and to encourage donations, because this is so important. Like, Jessica is a professional. You are a professional. You should be, just because you're sharing your personal story, I fully believe and support that you guys should be paid to be guests, to make this podcast. Like, this is incredible information that is being put out. And the fact that we have come to, I feel it's like a whole thing with iTunes, and, well, maybe not with iTunes because you pay for that, but like with Napster and like all of those old LimeWire things, like we expect everything to be free. And
Yeah.
I think it's so important that we recognize that your time is valuable. And I'm even getting you like sleep deprived. Like, I know your time is so valuable. And you deserve to be paid, and they deserve to be paid, that we can get these conversations out there. And I feel like that's a way that we can get people to recognize, if you get people to pay for it, you understand that you are putting more value on it.
Mm-hmm.
That we're recognizing
Exactly.
that we're not just taking advantage of the incredible work that Jessica and Rui are doing, and we're not just taking, advantage of your time, that we are like imbuing it with monetary value.
Mm-hmm. And
And
we get, sorry, go ahead.
no, please go ahead.
And we get more episodes if we get more Patreon. So I'm like, okay, I need this in my life. I need to be able to listen to the podcast every, I mean, they've been doing quite a few episodes right now, but they can't really like keep up with the same rate if they're not getting paid for their time, because they do need to, have their full-time job too to live. So
Yeah.
we need more Patreons so we can have more episodes so that we can build this community and really like put value into it. So all the episodes, we need all the episodes, people.
It's so important, because I don't know. I mean, I know that there are other, and I would love to hear from people if you guys want to comment when I post this, where I can look at or hear more of these stories. But as somebody who put out a version of my story or my experience as, a white presenting, slender, restrictive eating disordered person, I put that out in terms of a film, but I don't see or hear a lot of other versions of eating disorders, and and I and that's what's so great about My Black Body, is I feel like I'm getting to hear these stories and getting to like broaden my idea of what it is to be mentally ill, but also to live in recovery,
Mm-hmm.
and to figure out what the hell this is, because it's just so pervasive. It's everywhere, right? I'm speaking about eating disorders and disordered eating. Yeah. So I do you have any other, and I'm sorry if you can hear that outside. Do you have any other, recommendations of like, are there other, I don't know, television shows, or other than My Black Body? I'm just curious if you've ever seen more stories reflective that aren't just the skinny white girl, essentially?
There's quite a few books, but I don't want to butcher the names. So,
Cool.
um, I feel like I think Jessica has mentioned them in the podcast episodes, but we'll also have her like post kind of like her list on them because I'm
That'd
sure
be
that she
rad.
has so many more than I do. But yeah, definitely we'll get a reading list going. For shows, I haven't really seen any. I'm sure
Right.
that there's some out there, but I feel like it's probably really limited.
Yeah.
Because I can't think of any, unfortunately.
What do you feel like if you had seen something on television or heard about somebody else's story or like had My Black Body podcast, I don't know, when you were 17, what do you think your reaction would have been?
I think that it would have been really radical for me to hear those things. So yeah, like being young and in the midst of everything, like thinking everything like revolves around me and my life, and not realizing, oh, other people are going through the same thing, and they actually like, whoa, they're struggling too, and they don't like, they're not getting help. Um, so I think it would be kind of like a huge eye opener to think that, okay, this isn't just an isolated moment of Lexi having these struggles and not wanting, like being able to hide it and not seeking help. So
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think it would have helped. I think it would have been really formative, and I wish that I had these like amazing mentors that I do now, and these relationships with people that have also been actively trying to recover over a long period of time, that have all the wisdom like you do, Troian. um,
I got a lot
yes,
of information.
like
I don't know if I call it wisdom.
I feel like you have the wisdom. It's just hard to always apply it. I mean, we've talked about
Yeah.
that. The recovery is not linear, and it's kind of a 10-year plan.
Yeah, man. It is. But I'm so, God, I'm just so grateful that you are working with someone as incredible as Jessica, and now that you're building a community where you can speak out about this. Because, like we talked about, this mental illness just feeds on secrecy and
Mm-hmm.
being in the dark, and it counts on you not bringing it to people and talking about your experience and asking for help. And the fact that you, no matter where you are in your recovery, whether you're having a good day or like, like Ruia said, when I was rewatching her live with Allison Pill, and they were talking about how they were crying into a meal, but that they had their roommate with them, and, they can talk to Jessica, like that community, that sort of accountability, especially when you're not trustworthy, as like we're not, that kind of accountability, it saves your life.
Yeah.
And I just want to do everything I can, which is why I'm like so adamant about that people not only support My Black Body podcast, but listen and share it with friends. And, because I just think building this community is going to save lives.
I agree completely. Yeah.
Well, I know that I don't want to keep you from more sleep, but is there anything else that you want to talk about or share? I mean, also, I'm way down to do this again
Oh
anytime.
yes.
I would love that.
We could make
Um,
little recaps of the episodes and everything.
oh my God, I would love to do recaps. That'd be so much fun.
Yeah.
But is there anything else that you want to talk about, or like any questions? I don't know. I haven't like even been checking the questions. We can also,
Ooh.
it's a lot of Brazilian flags right now. So I don't know how to answer that, guys. I don't know. How do you feel?
I feel like we covered a lot of like what we were talking about before. So I think that this was like really successful. So I'm happy about it. I feel like we need more. You know, there's never enough time, but yeah, I liked it. It was fun.
It's so cool. Well, I also want to encourage people that once I post this, if you have any questions for me or for Lexi, put them in the comments and we can go through and answer them as they come, or, you know, we can organize another live conversation. But both of our bios now have the link to the Patreon uh, for how to support the My Black Body podcast. And you can listen to it on iTunes, Spotify, anywhere you listen to podcasts, right? It's now available
Yes,
all over, which is super
everywhere.
exciting. Yeah. So listen, and I'm so excited. You said that Jessica and Rui are going to be releasing more episodes soon. Um, but it's just more incentive for us to support them with donations because then we get them faster.
Yes, exactly. So excited.
So excited. Thank you so much for joining me after like an all-nighter. You're a total rock star, and I'm just in awe of you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for having me. This has been great.
Yeah, of course. Well, have a great rest of your day, and love to everybody who joined us. Thank you so much. I'm going to post this, and we'll talk soon.
All right. Thanks,
All right.
Troian. Bye.
Bye. I don't know how to leave now. There we go.